embarrassment of riches this week with
amazing
with
stuff.
Commercials.
Amazing stuff. The one I settled on had the most dialogue, but there are some real winners out there if you get a minute to go look all those up. All right, here we go. This is the show, and it begins in 3, 2, 1.
Introducing Burger Time, the home video game where you're a chef being chased by food that constantly disagrees with you. Like hot dogs that have a taste for revenge. Burger Time! Eggs that don't turn over easy. And pickles that are very, very sour. Burger Time! Now for Intellivision, coming this fall for Atari 2600, Apple II, Aquarius, and IBM home computers. Burger Time! From Mattel Electronics, don't be surprised if you're on the menu.
I want to know more about this.
We're closed. Right.
Where's this Aquarius console? I want to know.
Kind of a bummer.
Yep. Hey everybody, welcome to Play Retro. This is Play Retro, the Retro Games Podcast, and I'm one of your hosts, Scott Johnson. And look, you're a salty pickle. Yes, you are. You deserve some salt that will make you slow your roll while I try and stack this bun and burger in an organized fashion. So get out of my way and let me cook.
Yeah, baby, let me cook. And I'm your other host, Brian Dunaway, and I am not Chef Peter Pepper, but nonetheless, I'm ready to stack some giant burgers while dodging pickles and hot dogs. And oh, hi, Mr. Pickle. Do you have the time to talk about our Lord and Savior, Mr. Wiener? the meat that wiggles? He is so dreamy. Now hand me the pepper. I'm about to get salty with these eggs over easy. This thing's not easy.
Did you get? Wait, is his name really? What's the hot dog's name?
Oh, is this? Oh, so this was a Japanese game originally, and so as a result, they love to call everything Mister. So it's Mr. Pickle, it's Mr. Hot Dog, but I said Mr. Wiener because
okay, all right. I was just making sure it wasn't really Mr. Wiener.
Hello, Mr. Wiener, but yes, Mr. Hot Dog, Mr. Pickle, and Mr. Eggs. Is it Eggs? That's not right. Yeah, that's right, Mr. Eggs.
Mr. Eggs. Is it Eggs? It's something like that.
I like how the Japanese, we make games. Look, the Japanese make a lot of stuff for Americans, and the games are one of them. And I love how they try to appeal to our culture by saying like we use Mr. This and Mr. That. I think it's super cute.
It is. It's adorable.
It's adorbs.
So we're going to talk about the adorable and long-lasting series of Burger Time games, starting with the arcade in the early '80s, and all the way up through some stuff that I didn't even know existed. This week was an adventure and discovery of the Burger Time line. Not a lot of stuff lately, but all the way up through the 360, you had some Burger Time in your life. Yeah. And we'll talk more about that.
Some may say too much Burger Time.
That is true. I also, on a sort of somber note, would like to dedicate the entire episode to a listener by the name of Alan. He went by Wabbit Magic in our community. We talked about it a bit pre-show, but to do this publicly, this was somebody who was at every taping of this show. He loved retro. He loved this community. He was a personal friend of both myself and Brian's. Yes. He reached out in really kind and wonderful ways. He passed away yesterday unexpectedly, and we're all at a bit of a loss because that guy left a big old hole, and we're going to miss him. So
if you want to share that with us in the community, hit our Discord servers. Just ask anyone, and we'll point you in the right direction for the Discord servers. Lots of great stories being shared. Yes.
So rest in peace, Alan, and we're going to miss you around here, man. All right, Brian, let's get to some stuff that he would want us to talk about, which is I found a thing very delightful and wonderful, and I want to share it. The new season, so it took him 4 years. I don't know what took so long, but the new season of Adult Swim's Smiling Friends is now available.
Yes.
Or lots of it. It's not done yet. They're only like 4 episodes in, but there are like 2, at least 1, but maybe I can't. It all bleeds together because they're short episodes. They're like 10, 12 minutes or something. But there is at least 1 episode in there that is about retro gaming in the best possible ways.
And I didn't see it until you pointed it out. I had watched some of the first season, and I had not seen any of the latest stuff. And if you're a fan of that kind of humor, how random this is the show for you. Smiling Friends is amazing.
Oh, it's so good. It's, I wouldn't say it's for the kids, but it is. If you got a 15-year-old, you'll be fine. It is really funny, irreverent, and weird. And if you want to see, I still to this minute think it's the best stereotype of a video game boss that I've ever seen. This guy that will not relinquish this IP to save his life, this beloved IP Like it's like ripped from gaming headlines in a lot of ways. And he's also got a chicken nugget problem that I'm just going to reference that, and then you're all going to go find out for yourselves. It's amazing. Anyway, it's really good. Brian, what'd you get up to this week in your retro life?
Well, I tried to move on from last week's Tony Hawk episode, but apparently we had made so many missteps, so many face plants that our community rose up and submitted show corrections for our Tony Hawk episode last week. And so you know what? I take that in stride. We always say that. Please do correct us if we say anything wrong. We have a couple of emails and or voicemails at the end where we're going to talk a little bit about Tate mode that we talked about last week and the corrections that are there. But also one thing that they didn't mention was Skate or Die in 720. There's a little confusion for people for that. There's two arcade games called Skate or Die, and then there's one called 720. The Skate or Die is very similar to the Tony Hawk on Game Boy that we talked about last week. And then the 720 is very similar to the Game Boy Advance. And yes, you do say skate or die.
Skate or die.
The 720. That's the word. So that's where a lot of confusion comes into place. So,
it's an easy thing to mix up. I just remember being in the arcade. It was one of the attract modes on that thing. Is you just hear it across the room go skate or die. And it's like no one's even playing it. It was basically Sinistar was like over there screwing around. Is what it felt like.
It was so good. And also there was what was the other thing that I was going to tell? Like I said, the corrections kept on coming. Oh, but don't forget this last Tuesday, just serendipitously, or did we do it on purpose? Was National Hamburger Day. So, there you go. So during the week of Burger Time, when I was eating one of the first burgers I've eaten in probably a decade.
Oh my gosh.
It was Wimpy came along and said, I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a National Hamburger today.
Did you not? You haven't had a burger in like a decade? That's crazy.
It's been about a decade. No, I've had like, chickens and things.
Sure.
And I've had hamburger patties without buns, but a bun with meat on it and cheese and, condiments.
Yeah.
No, that is ridiculous that it's been that long.
Holy crap.
To have it.
I'm shocked. You haven't even made your own or, grilled them up or anything. That's nuts.
I think I one time in that time had made a piece of toast and ate it with my hamburger meat. So does that count? Is that close enough?
You know what? I'll allow it here in this courtroom. I'm going to allow that testimony. The jury is instructed to remember what Brian said just now. Write that down.
Right. You're allowed to remember it and bring it back up in casual conversation.
That's right. When you guys are deliberating your sentence in the other room there, would you please remember that Brian ate a burger on some toast?
You're back already? Wow, that was fast. I must be guilty.
That's amazing, dude. Well, anyway, fantastic. There's a lot going on, man. You know what I did? I'll tell you what I retained from the Tony Hawk discussion.
Right.
I'm a little surprised actually how much that had an impact because I was prepared to play a bit, dip in, dip out, and then discuss it, and then the show's done, and then we move on to what's next. A couple of times, this happened with Advance Wars, and this happened with what was the other one that we did that I just could not stop playing? Oh, all the bomb early on the Bomberman episode. I could not get enough. I couldn't get enough Bomberman after that. I was playing it like crazy. This is one of those cases, and I played so much of, I'm still playing. On my Ambernick, I'm playing the GBA game, the 2 game. And it's so
which is amazing. That's the one that is like the 720. Check it out.
Yeah, it's excellent. And then the other thing I was going to say was what? Oh, I reinstalled the remakes, the new ones, the newish ones on my PC. I've been playing that. Yeah. So yeah, I kind of gotten a Tony Hawk vibe.
I'm the same. I've played it several times since then, and I went on and played 3 and 4 a couple of times this past week on the Retro Pie that we had discussed pre-show.
Yeah.
And additionally, I cannot stop going back to the Spotify Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 playlist.
Yeah.
I keep going back to them all week, so it's just one of those things. I have a Tony Hawk Pro Skater hangover that just more hair of the dog, please. That's the only cure.
Yeah,
for that.
It's funny how that it was just the right time or something. It felt good to cover all that, and so I'm really glad that we did. We had some people bemoaning the fact that something like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, or even worse, something like Tony Hawk's Underground, are considered 20 years on retro now, and it's true.
Yeah.
The shit
Oh,
is
dude,
old, man. It's old.
If you can't consider that first one especially retro, because I mean the graphics get a little better by the time you get to 3 and 4, and there's a
Yeah.
lot better AI and stuff. It feels a lot like more like a modern game. But man, if you can't
Yeah.
look at one and go, we don't do that no more.
Yeah.
I don't know what's wrong with you.
Yeah. Chat room, Jacob Clatter in that chat room asks, have you guys tried Roller Dome? Roller Dome is awesome, and we should have mentioned it last week as a cool alternative to, or a modern way of playing a game, a lot like Tony Hawk, because it has trick systems, it has all that, but it's basically what was this like future sport? It's basically like you're shooting competitors and stuff with like guns and crap. It's awesome. That game is great. It uses this like Mobius art style. Super rad.
Yes.
Check out Roller Dome. It's on Game Pass if you have Game Pass.
And if you can't get enough Tony Hawk Pro Skater, you can also, there's a community project out there. I think it's, what was it called? There's a community program. Look at it. Look for that. Look for a Tony Hawk Pro Skater community.
Honey Talks.
Honey Hawk.
Yeah, Honey Talks Pro Skater. Check it out.
You use your spell correct on that, and then you'll find exactly what you're looking for. New maps and stuff and everything.
Yeah, you'll have no trouble. Give that a shot. Well, anyway, there you go. That's what we've been up to. Let's talk about this week's big topic of the week. Get ready to get your salty, freaking meaty burger on. Okay?
Needs pepper.
Those pickles are freaking psychopaths.
The pickles are weird in every iteration of Burger Time.
Yeah, there's none of these. Like, they're all a little weird. The egg, Sunny Side, or Sunny, I guess is his name.
Yeah. Is it Mr. Sunny?
He's pretty gross. It's something like Mr. Sunny. Yeah. Later on, I think the 360 reboot thing looks like they changed his name a little bit, but they're all weird and anthropomorphic and all that stuff. The hot dog too. But you get to the damn pickle. The pickle is on crack.
The pickle is on crack. He's bouncing around, acting like a pickle. Really, he's a salty pickle.
It's what pickles do, and boy howdy, do they do it.
Is he bread and butter?
No,
I'm assuming this is an American hot dog, originally envisioned in Japan as a game called Hamburger, and released there on the Deco systems for Data East, and then re-released or continued to release in America through Bally Midway, not using the Deco system, thank goodness. And we called it Burger Time, and a little bit different artwork.
It is different. And the other funny thing is the ports in this well, there's some weird stuff with this game. We'll get to all that in a second. First, I want you to hear a little sound. This is what Burger Time 1 sounded like when you put your quarters in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
This game does not hide in the corner of the arcade. This game says, look at me, listen to me. I'm doing something weird. Come over here.
I'm a chef whose entire culinary career is running over the top of gigantic oversized buns, trying to kill apparently jealous other food items. The pickles, though, they ought to go on the burger, so I don't know what their problem is. But the egg, I get it. Some people like eggs in their burgers, some don't. The hot dog, I totally get it. That guy's like, you're taking, this, I could be the fast food here, but no, it's burgers. Yeah. I get that.
And he's definitely, and that hot dog weenie is definitely a spicy weenie. He does not look like just a standard, he's a red hot, right? He is definitely going to be, he's going to wake you up.
Yeah, he's got like Tabasco infused or some shit.
Yeah.
But the game basically, the short of it is you have, the original game anyway, you had 4 receptacles at the bottom of the screen and a bunch of ladders, seemingly in random ways, although they're not random. It's not procedural. They're all designed. But your goal is to go up there and walk over the top of the bun, the lettuce, the meat, whatever you need to get those down there to make complete burgers. And it had kind of, for its time, this ingenious graphical treatment of the bun or the meat or whatever you were walking over had the tendency to kind of fold, or what's the word? Start to collapse. Drop. Yeah. So if you walked halfway across, it would only show a little bit of the burger mush down. But then when you ran down over the rest of it, it would drop. It would hit the next piece in its way, or a floor. But if there was a piece there, it would hit the piece. And the piece would then cascade to the next level. And you could do some crazy combos. Like the whole idea was like, well, what if I smash 4 hot dogs with this bun top and also this pickle because he's under the next piece of meat, onward and upward. That's basically the game. And it's fun. It holds up.
It starts off as a very simple game. You look at it like, all you're doing is running burger items with your hamburger hat, because that's what the H stands for, hamburger. And
I
and
forgot.
yeah, but then it gets complicated because then you realize, oh, what if a wiener is standing next to me when it goes down? Well, he'll go down 2 floors possibly, or more floors. How many do you have on there? I don't know. But if you throw some pepper in his face while he's chasing after you and you run over a bun, hopefully you'll freeze him long enough that he'll have to go down with the crowd. So he'll go all the way down. And it's like, yeah, you get your combo money, get your combo
Yeah, it
points.
kind of reminds me. It's like if Donkey Kong and Dig Dug and
Yeah.
Lode Runner had a baby. Those 3 games feel like they're the influence here. And being able to salt your thing is a little bit like only temporarily blowing up the Dig Dug monsters and then running through them so they couldn't attack you while they were halfway blown up or whatever. It's a little bit of that going on. I will say this, as a young kid playing this game in the arcade, I rarely used the salt because I would forget I could. It wasn't that it wasn't
by the way,
yeah.
Before you write in, we have to do corrections again next week. Scott means pepper.
Sorry, I keep saying salt. Gosh dang it.
But that's because the logic of it tells you that it would be salt. But I think they had to make some decisions at game time and go, oh, he needs to have some kind of sprinkle. When he throws it, it definitely looks like salt, does not look like pepper. But his name is Peter Pepper.
It's Peter Pepper. Yeah, he picked
so I guess Peter Salt didn't have the same ring to it, maybe, or they didn't want to go with Sam Assault or something like that. That might be bad. I don't know.
It was his name's Adam Salt, and he can't go by Salt. It can't be a salt, or it's a salt, so you can't do that.
Yeah. So
a lot of problems.
Decisions were made.
Yeah,
decisions were made.
No doubt. So it's actually kind of a hard game. I mean, like all arcade games, the goal is to get you to put more quarters in it. So they were not holding back on the difficulty once you got past your first couple of levels.
Right.
I'm terrible at this game. Do not ever have me compete.
Oh,
I'm bad, very bad.
Everybody is terrible at this game until you learn all of the nuances that is Burger Time. Because, like we said, it's a very simple game, but not if you want to win. If you want to win, you have to understand some things. You have to understand that if Mr. Wiener is on the same level as you and is walking towards you, if there is a ladder between you and him, he will go down, whereas the egg will go up. And they're all set to do like a magnet. So they're all heading towards you. And then the randomization is based on where you are in relation to the oncoming character, and if there's any ladders in whatever direction coming toward you. So once you learn all the advanced shit for Burger Time, you can really start racking up some big points. As a matter of fact, the default setup for this game when you go in is some pretty high scores to beat, and that is intentional because this game was right in the middle of what do you want from a video game. You want to challenge players to get to the highest score and to keep putting in those quarters, and that's exactly what they did here.
Was the very first game a Data East joint, or somebody else make it?
This first Burger Time game was a Data East. This was Data East little baby.
All right, because the reason I asked this is when my dad was running arcades and had his arcade business, we had a direct line to Data East. They were going to make a bunch of stuff we were going to put out, and that's where we got Lock and Chase. That's where we got Zor, whatever it was.
Rump and Jump. What is it?
Oh, whatever those were.
Everything was, and it was like bump and jump. That's
bump and jump, flip and jip, whatever, all that stuff.
Flip and jip.
So this game, Burger Time, Burger Time with the original artwork is amazing. The little chef guy is my favorite. He got stupider later on, but I really like the original art. Anyway, what was my point? Oh, so we had this direct line to those guys, and I think it was right around the time that we got Lock and Chase out of them, which is kind of just a Pac-Man ripoff, and some golf game they were getting us to make or to sell in the States, is around the time that Burger Time happened, and they made some deal with somebody to do exclusivity on like distribution of the arcade machines with it.
Right.
And I remember feeling like we got screwed. Like I remember
that was
feeling
probably
like
Badly Midway that got the exclusive rights.
Yeah, and they were way bigger, right? My dad was a little dinky joint, but he was making these custom arcade machines, and Data East was all in on the partnership. They were like stoked about it, but they got paid more by whoever it was. You're probably right. It's probably Bally's. And I remember when that happened, I said to my dad, I was only like 13. I went, Dad, I think that's a better game than Lock and Chase.
Yeah. I think they got a winner here, Dad.
Yeah,
and you went on to do so much gaming stuff. So you look at that, look at you, early predictive.
Yeah.
And Data East wasn't that old of a company. Even at this point, they had started out. I learned all kinds of I learned stuff about them this past week.
Mm.
Like they got into the biz essentially because they recognized that there need to be a better way to distribute arcade games other than taking a whole freaking arcade box and then having to replace all the boards and stuff in it. They said, hey, why not use some kind of swappable media? And they went with tapes, as you can well imagine.
Brilliant.
That lasted short time. Tape,
Brilliant.
we know is not a very great.
I don't
medium for
honestly to this
durability.
day I do not understand how they didn't see the writing on the wall on that. Like it just there were too many other advancements happening in technology that veered away from tapes, even while tapes were
Yeah.
becoming consumer products. And
Yeah.
I swear that was just bad foresight. They just weren't
Tapes
thinking.
are so tapes were a nice little mix between the physical, and if you ever popped one of these a data tape into a cassette player that would actually play it, it's just noise, just like our old modems were. It was taking everything that was analog and turning it digital, right? And
Yeah.
reading all that stuff in. And by the way, you've been showing the Burger Time art stuff, and it is terrifying. I don't
Some
know if
of
you're
it is
not
so
watching the
bad.
stream. It is terrifying, some of this Burger Time artwork that Peter Pepper has been. I like the cute one instead. I think I'm going to stick with the cute.
You know what?
in
I
my
think the
memory.
cute one is how you want to remember it. What you don't want,
Yeah.
here, I'll put it in our Discord and also I'll put it up again. What you don't want is this bullshit. Look at this thing. This is scary.
That looks like, I don't know who made this, but it kind of reminds me of oh shoot. Oh man, why am I brain farting on that? Oh, Aqua Teen Hunger Force for the Commodore. This is
Oh.
for the Commodore 64.
Yeah.
Somebody got to illustrate that. It looks like early on Aqua Teen Hunger Force got a hold of this thing and made it scary. Super scary. Is that romaine lettuce on a burger? Or is that's not?
I think
not
that's
standard
it's not standard
iceberg.
lettuce. No, that is not iceberg
No.
lettuce. But here's the
No.
original. Here's the sound that I expect to hear with the cartoon based on this artwork. Okay, listen.
Right.
That's what I
Yeah.
expect to hear. I expect like
Oh my God.
Squidbillies level freaking weird
Yes.
ass Adult Swim is what I expect.
Why is he drinking? So Peter, he's oh my God. Peter Pepper, the chef, is out. He's over here drinking the weirdest looking soda. Is that him looking forward to his ice cream failure that was a game later on?
I
Because that
mean,
is
must be because look at that thing. Here, let's move it.
the
Let's zoom
$5.
in.
That's a $5 shake I've ever seen.
Let's zoom in and enhance, you guys. That is bad. Oh wow! I don't know who did this art, but I respect them. I love them, and I want
Yeah.
to be them. I want to be
Green
this
belt.
artist.
Is that a thing? He's got a Mario mustachio.
Yeah,
We got real face Eggman.
yeah.
Which, by the way, his spatula has some egg on it. That's terrifying.
That's terrifying,
yeah.
dude.
Suitable for the Commodore 64 and nothing else. Look at that crotch. Did you just get a little good shot?
Yeah,
at that
pretty
chef
good
crotch?
clutch. And also the hot dog and the egg both have lettuce arms. I don't know what that's about, but
Oh, that is weird. Now I know that the wiener in the game has he's got green legs,
yeah.
but I don't know. I don't think the egg has. Legs.
One other quick note is this says that it's for the Commodore 64, or as they put it, suitable for the Commodore
Suitable.
64. That's a funny way to
Suitable.
say it's compatible, isn't it? That's
It
weird.
is a very weird way to say it, and I respect it.
Yeah,
I respect it.
I think
By
I'm
the
all
way,
in.
the Commodore 64 port not as good
No,
as some of the other ones.
no, that was a sad
Not as
one.
good.
I was surprised which ones were good. Some of them blew my mind. I thought the Intellivision one. I went in expecting complete garbage with that one.
Yes.
I'm like, I'm going to emulate this. I'm going to hate every second of it. As much as me and my friend would play Intellivision, that shit doesn't hold up in my opinion. I think the controller's a nightmare. Like, there's a lot of stuff to love about the era, but I hate that device. And I fired that up. It might have been my favorite.
Yeah,
Like I did that, and the NES version are probably my favorite. I really like the NES version. Thought that was strong.
There's a trick behind why you like the Intellivision one the best, and the reason why the NES one escaped what all the other ports suffered from. Very early on in television, Mattel owned,
Mhm.
went in and got the publishing rights for home consoles for the Burger Time. And so if you wanted a Burger Time on your hotly contested second gen console, you had to go to Mattel to get it. And apparently they sabotaged and made a lot of those worse than it needed to be intentionally. This is how the story goes anyway. I don't know if we're revisionist here, but that's what I was told until the NES came along, which is almost 4 years later. At this point, all those other competitors are pretty much gone, and it was a whole new era of gaming. And so it was like, yeah, we'll allow it. Go ahead and make a good NES version
Yeah,
of it, I
yeah.
suppose.
It's funny
I
because it
suppose.
just had less blinkiness, less. I mean, my only real complaint about the NES one is it just sounded like every other game. Like if you're like talking about sounds, it sounded like this. I mean, it's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine, but it's very NES, right? Where
Very.
what I really like is the Intellivision one sounded better, and that didn't. I'm still surprised. Here's that, or at least more equivalent to the arcade. That Buddha it's a little
I
loud,
learned-
but
Unfortunately, I had to learn more about Intellivision this week than I had intended. And I went back and learned so much about these guys. I never had an Intellivision, never knew much about the Intellivision. I always get it confused with the ColecoVision. I'm like, is that not the same? It's one come after the other. No, Brian, not even close. Intellivision was one of the first ones released after the Atari 2600. It happened to have they over-engineered it, essentially. Mattel said, yeah, we're going to get into this. We're going to do it. And so the Intellivision actually was a really powerful machine for its time and was able to hang on almost all the way through the 90s. Even when the video game crash happened and everything, people were still developing games, less, but still on the Intellivision. And those great commercials we watched at the top of the show.
Yeah.
That was funded by marketing purchases for the failed, never really happened Aquarius that was going to be like a home computer follow-up.
Oh, that's the reference. Okay, I could not track. Well, I didn't look that hard, if I'm honest, but I could not. I could not easily find information about this Aquarius thing. So that's
because
interesting.
it didn't really go anywhere. They bought a whole bunch of marketing time, and so they ended up spending all of the marketing money towards a whole console system for the next generation on Burger Time commercials. So because it was getting, it was releasing out at Christmas that year, and it was a big seller, and they wanted to get it out. And so I was like, wow. And so that's the reason why if you talk to somebody like, oh shit, yeah, I remember the Burger Time commercials. They were freaking outrageous.
Yeah,
and
they were nightmarish too. There were tons of them.
Close. That was my favorite. I don't know if you've seen that one where they're doing the drive-through and couple on a date, and the very end of it, after they're all running around inside, the wiener and the chef and the egg, and the wiener comes up, full cosplay dressed up guy, and he looks at the screen and he goes, "We're closed," and he slams the window, and I'm like, oh, this is just freaking too delicious.
Look, it's what you expect from Mr. Wiener or Mr. Hot Dog.
Yeah,
right? It's what
Mr. Hot Dog. Is it Mr. Hot Dog? I'm going to call it Mr. Wiener. I can't stop.
So we don't even have are there any photos of this Aquarius, like any kind of mock-ups or anything?
Yeah, there are, but yeah, and Intellivision has a really interesting story, and some of you guys have suggested it on our forums for covering it as a system, because we really haven't touched on Intellivision.
Oh yeah, we ought to do more. Just as because it's the thing's an aberration. It's a weird thing, dude.
It is a weird thing, and as well as the ColecoVision. I've kind of avoided both because I didn't want to get into the controller conversation that is those machines that did the 12 button controller with the D-pad essentially knob thing.
Yep.
And but I found that the emulation that's working on that stuff, the INTV core, actually does pretty good job with allowing you to get through all that stuff. And I played Burger Time this past week using that, and it played fine. I don't know what I was so worried about.
Yeah. I like I said, I approched it the same way. I was like, this is gonna suck. And it
didn't gonna be hard.
It didn't suck at all.
Look at all that shit that was coming with the Aquarius.
Yeah, so we had they had a printer. It had a built-in keyboard. It had some kind of detachable control center thing. I can't tell what it did for controllers though. It doesn't. I'm not sure if it had there
an
it is.
Intellivision
the mini expander right below it. Those are the controllers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, those are cool too. They almost like little touch pads or something. I don't know. That's not what it is, but it almost looks like some early era iPod stuff almost, even though I know it's not what it is. But
no, but those discs, that disc was well, it's probably more basic than I think, but at the time it felt space age and cool, man. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, it was a precursor to the D-pad essentially, because I thought it was a spinner. I was like, oh, that thing's a spinner. No, it's
this
not.
Thing has a 4K and 16K memory expander.
Wee boy, wow. That's gonna hurt.
Yep, there's Burger Time, the game. Available now.
Burger Time. That was their exclusivity. That was Intellivision's plan. That was Mattel's plan. The toy company.
It's not enough.
They're cutthroat. We see those guys come back in a big way, and we also see some people come out of there that did some Sega stuff that got us into the Sega era. So
Yeah, yeah.
Mattel's a big part of our video gaming history.
But was never the age of Aquarius, unfortunately.
It was never the age of Aquarius, man, and that's too bad. And there was all kinds of stuff like the Intellivision keyboard. Why am I going into all this Intellivision stuff? I'm saving that for another episode. Let's get back to Burger Time. I apologize.
Let's do it. Burger Time. Burger Time. Well, whatever. It's got an interesting connection to it, so I think it's fine. But the gameplay wasn't bad. I think them banking everything on Burger Time being a giant hit was kind of a weird flex. Like, have some other games handy. Like, I don't know why that. Look, I love Burger Time, but should it be your flagship effort? Probably not.
At that time, I guess it was kind of. Let's put it this way: it was a different time, Scott. This was a time when you could still have one guy doing programming and create a game. And maybe it has some artwork and some music from some other people's in the office, but primarily it was one guy's job to get this thing done. You remember the Atari 2600 ET?
Oh yeah.
Short time frames, bad things happen. This Burger Time was converted in 2 months, according to interviews with the guy who programmed it. I've seen several. And he said that he did it so quickly, unheard of, by the way. 6 months was usually
that's rare,
shortest time you would have.
Yeah.
2 months, because he was getting married and he didn't want to have it hanging over his head on his honeymoon. And I was like, wow, that's pretty amazing. And I played it, and on the surface, it's pretty good. But then you start getting a little further along and you realize this AI is shit. Yeah, you only spent 2 months on this thing.
Yeah, this was a very short amount of time you spent on this game. I think what happened is...
I don't think I'd be telling people that story. I think I'd keep that to myself.
I think everybody loves burgers and they like the iconography, and it's just a funny concept, and it's enough to put a quarter in and have a good time for 10 minutes. Like, it's kind of perfect for an arcade game, you know?
So there's a couple of games I never pass up when I hit the arcade, and it was always Burger Time, Pac-Man, the original vector-based Star Wars game. Those are games that I cannot resist, attract me for some reason that I cannot bypass. And
well, this game had an attract. They have attract mode, like sounds to get you over there. Listen to it. Burger Time's attract mode is freaking atrocious. Listen to this.
Look at me.
Do you know what that was? That was him smacking a spatula on a pan.
Yes, look at me. Come over here and get spatulaed.
And further, I guess I should, full disclosure, that's for Super Burger Time, but still, that's quite the attract mode. It's like most of those games would yell at you and go, Valkyrie needs food badly or something. This one's like, bop, 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 get over here and play this. You want to play this game? It's got burgers and Mr. Pickle and Mr. Shit Dog and all this. Get over here.
Mr. Shit Dog. This game accomplished what a lot of Japanese game developers were going for, which was to appeal to everyone. And things that appealed to everyone was cartoons, colorful, bright, fun. And this game delivered in spades. And I was disappointed because I've heard a couple of people mention in some of the documentaries on the Burger Time development different names of people who worked on it, programmers, people who did the music, but I've yet to find any definitive answers. So if you have resources out there, because I'm sure a lot of it's probably in Japanese that I cannot read. So if you've got some resources, this was a time that these companies like Data East, you didn't mention who made the game. It was just a Data East joint, right? It was just a Data East joint.
Data East, that didn't tell you anything about who was behind it. Back then, that was exist. No. I don't know. I don't even know what Data East does now. Are they?
Oddly, I'm glad you asked that question because I wasn't sure where I'd shoehorn that in. So, Data East did bad eventually, and they were sold, and their properties were sold, and then a mobile company about a decade ago, I think, called Gmode picked up all of the intellectual properties, including the ones for Burger Time. And there is an initiative. We can actually go to the website. Let me see if I can find where it's at in our show notes. But there is here it is. Gmode. Oh, yes. Gmode.com.
Yeah,
Gmode. So here, I'm going to put this link in here. And this is called the Data East Revival Project. And if you're interested in licensing out Burger Time, I think me and you could come up with enough money that we could license.
You think Gmode? You think Gmode would roll right over? Do you?
I think Gmode. Okay, I posted in the Discord server. I think Gmode would give us a really good price on. They got Karate Champ, Burger Time, Bad Dudes versus Dragon Ninja, Fighters History, Joe and Mac,
Wow.
Side Pocket. You know Side Pocket.
Oh, hell yeah.
But
oh my
yeah.
gosh, they got, let's see if they have running, let's see, Lock and Chase. They do have the rights to Lock and Chase.
Yeah. So maybe me and Scott need to find some kind of licensing thing that we could project that we could work on, because I don't think anybody has visited this website ever except for me.
Yeah.
It's deep in the Gmode Corp, and it's hearing from some Americans going, "Hey, we'd love to license your thing." I think we have a chance.
You think that's what happened with the 360 game called World? Was it? Let's see, Burger Time World or something. Let's see. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 2011 Burger Time World. Yeah,
Burger Time World Tour 2011. The 360 is the version I played back in the day, and I played a little more of that this time via what do you call that device? The PlayStation 3 emulator thing that's on my PC that I shouldn't have. I don't know the name of it. Anyway, I played that version, and it's weird, but they must have licensed it, because 03 was when all this was sold to Gmode, so Gmode must already be doing that.
Yeah, Monkey Paw Games, developed and published it, and with a little bit of money, probably greasing the Gmode pocket. What do they care? They're mostly primarily mobile game developers. They got a new game coming out too. I think actually supposed to have been announced today. I meant to go back and look.
Who, Gmode?
Gmode getting a lot of love from me today for some reason.
Yeah, Gmode is mostly you're right. They're mostly a mobile firm.
Right.
They are worth, let's see. They did all right last year. They made
$1 million.
They made $31.1 million last year. It's not a lot. I mean, it's not huge, but it's not bad.
I'm getting the feeling that the things I'm seeing from this Data East revival project is like, I feel like somebody is working at Gmode. This is all speculation. This is all bullshit speculation. There's somebody over at Gmode that's like, yeah, we're making tons of money on this mobile stuff. And it's like, but I still have a little bit of love for Burger Time. Can we just put that up just in case somebody, we're going to call it a revival project and see if we can't get some retro gamers interested in this thing.
Yeah. Why is that so hard? By the way, Bad Dudes, we could license Bad Dudes. We should do it.
We got to. We need a patron level of licensing for one or multiple of these games.
Well, and I know I have seen some of these in other things. Like Bad Dudes has had a couple of redos since this ownership.
So I think we'll call it Bad Dudes Redos.
Bad Dudes Redos. But I think you're right. I think they are probably pretty willing to let them out there. Yeah,
I think this is a passion project for somebody over at Gmode, and I think we could manage something.
Let's see what we can get done. They do not own, by the way, this is interesting. They do not own RoboCop or RoboCop 2, which are Data East games, but they don't own those. Right. It's owned by somebody called D4 Enterprises. And they don't own Windjammers, which is an amazing game Data East made forever on the Neo Geo ago, and that's owned by someone called
Neo Geo Go.
Payopon DP is the name of whoever owns that. Anyway, video game business.
But
the IPs are weird.
I sent you Data East Gmode's Instagram account. By the way, at 99 followers. Hold on a second, I gotta log in so I could be 100.
What? 99 followers, and all they have. Right. How old are these posts? Hold on.
Yeah, they're probably 6 years ago. I don't know. I was like, I get logged in.
2018 is the last time they put these up.
Yeah.
Holy shit. All right, Chad,
I feel like this is a relic of the past. Even that website, I think, is probably a relic of the past. It's probably been updated once or twice along the way. So.
Side Pocket. Holy crap.
Side Pocket.
Yeah. Karate Champ. They own all this.
Yeah, baby.
Wow.
Yeah. Gmode's my new best buddy. If anybody's over there got a connection with Gmode, hook us up.
I think I'm 100th follower. I'm now the 100th follower.
Oh, you bastard. I guess I have to be 101.
You were too late.
I wasn't logged in. Yeah, I wasn't logged in
yet.
So
there I am, 100. Woohoo!
Burger time.
I was going to say something. What was I going to say about something? I forgot.
I know next we were going to talk about the NES version, and all these ports for some reason. I don't know why they all lean so heavily. Maybe there's not a good brown or something. That's not true. I've seen plenty of games with good browns, but every one of their hamburger meats ended up being green. It seems like
green, or in this case, this has like a green. It's like meat colored in the middle, but it's got like a green surrounding color. I don't get it.
Yeah, like a green glow or something.
Yeah, I think maybe it's bad. It's been in the fridge too long. Nobody checked it. I don't know what happened there. None of the food is appetizing. I'll say that.
It's not.
No, it's not even the enemies. There's nothing about them I want to eat. So it's not that kind of game where you're like, you know how some video game food is kind of scrumptious looking, like you kind of want it, even pixelated stuff. You're like, oh, like the fruit in Pac-Man. I was always like, yeah, dude, I could go for that. You know,
dude, you know those cherries are cherries. They're delicious.
They're cherries.
You know that.
But yeah, this version is quite good. I would recommend gameplay wise to play this would be pretty good. The pickles are a little glitchy, but if they're not nearly as glitchy as the Game Boy game, which we'll get to in a minute.
Pickles are a little soft. Yeah.
Now, what did you think? Speaking of the Game Boy game, what did you think of the Game Boy game that sounded like this? Bunch of fart sounds and all that. My problem with these games is that the character sprites are real iffy. Like
Right. So if you didn't
favorite.
play the Burger Time, the original, if you don't have nostalgia for Burger Time, but you instead like the idea of the gameplay of Burger Time, then Burger Time Deluxe for the Game Boy from 1991 is amazing. I thought it played well. I had a lot of fun. It was paced. The AI was, you really can tell how much we learned about AI between the constant just patterns and attraction that happens in these older games. This one actually has a pretty smart AI, and it's infinitely more fun.
It's pretty good. I like that the screen scrolls, so you have a little bit more to do on the real estate that you're given in the game.
Absolutely.
My biggest, like I said, my complaint is the sprites, like a lot of original Game Boy games, they tend to be flickery. And then sometimes they flicker on purpose because it's to tell you that you're invulnerable for a minute. But
or
it's
in this
hard
case,
to tell.
the enemy is invulnerable for a minute because when they enter the screen, they flash for a few seconds in case you're near that entrance, you don't get killed.
Yeah.
Or when you pepper them, they'll also flash.
Yeah, when you pepper them, or as I always say, salt them.
Which
is totally not the case. I do like that this game because it's black and white. You don't have to worry about that. I just know that's the burger part because it's dark, and I'm good.
I actually I enjoyed playing this after I played the first couple of ones on my I played on my analog pocket when I got the real black and white experience, and then I went on and played it and loaded up the Super Game Boy Color adapter so that you can use all the different color palettes, and it colorizes everything, and that's always enjoyable. So I had some really good color palettes. I'm trying to remember which one. Was it the SBA one? I don't remember which one it was. It was a really good color palette that made this kind of really pop and feel more modern.
Now, if you were like me in the year 1990, you lost your shit because this thing came out. Whoops, wrong one. What you're hearing there is a game called Super Burger Time. This is not a Super Nintendo game. This was an arcade game. And here's what I liked about this. This surprised me because I remember playing it at the time, but I don't remember that the mechanic changed from running across the food to jumping on the food to make it drop.
Yeah.
And at some point, that just got lost. I played this here this week.
Yeah.
I really liked it. I like how that feels. It's good.
Right. This had a very limited exposure. I don't even know if it made it to the U.S. quite officially. There's probably some places you've probably seen.
Well, I definitely played it. I think it was at the 49th Street Galleria had this, but they also had some weird imports, so it's probably where we got it.
Yeah, if it's an arcade that does imports, you probably definitely played it. But this was definitely a Japanese, more Japanese-centric game, and it's a shame because, like you said, it's a unique way to play Burger Time. But yeah, this was the first time I played it was this week, and boy, it is a jump in difficulty,
fidelity, difficulty, freneticism. Like the whole thing is just bonkers.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know how to explain it. It's like there's a little bit of Mario in here, a little bubble bobble. Yeah. There's all sorts of stuff that remind me of it. But I really found dodging the creatures by jumping over them instead of salting them all the time.
Yeah,
I liked that. That was a nice change.
I did like that, and I also felt cheated. I'm like, well, this is not in the spirit of getting trapped in corners of Burger Time. This is escapeoid. We get to escape. I feel a little too powerful.
Maybe that's the case. It's still hard though. So because of that, it still feels like a challenge. I don't know. I thought this was pretty. I thought this was pretty cool for what it was.
I don't understand some of the the food though, because this time we brought in vegetables. We got some snap peas. Is that what those are? So we got some peas involved this time. We've
And
got
there's some kind
carrots.
of sesame something going on, like
Yeah,
middle bread or something, like kind of like a Big Mac.
middle bread. You got some Donkey Kong Junior bee action
Oh
going
yeah,
on.
this is totally Donkey Kong 3 shit right here. It's like a bonus
Yeah,
level.
yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
remember the bonus levels at all until I played it this week.
No,
but,
I'm sure I would never made it that far.
but look at this visual feast of nightmareness. Like he's in a candy town or something here.
Overworlds,
And it's
nice
still
little transition
eggs.
screens.
It's very weird, but it's cool. It's worth checking out if you can find a copy
It's
of it.
definitely worth checking out. But honestly, other than the characters, it does not feel, I don't know, even the gameplay, even though it's kind of the same, feels totally different to me.
Yeah.
I can't seem to put my
It is a very
brain
different
around it.
feeling. In some ways, I could see people having the criticism that I have for Dig Dug 2 because it does fundamentally change how the game plays. But I don't know. There was something about jumping on the food that worked for me. I can't explain it.
That was smart. That makes sense in the next iteration of, everything we had learned along the way. Because like we had said, the first one was very reflective of the games of the time with just a kind of a unique take on it. And this feels like the next step in the 90s to kind of take everything that we had learned about platforming.
Did you ever play Peter Pepper's Ice Cream Factory in the arcade in 1984?
No one played that. And if they did, they immediately walked away.
Yeah, I don't think this thing was available to me. This is the first I've heard of it, and I couldn't even find a way to play it. So what did I do? I watched a bunch of video.
I watched the video.
Yeah, because what else are you going to do? It's old as shit, this thing, and it's hard to get.
I didn't. I watched a video first and said, I'm not loading that up. It was it's top down, kind of isometric, because it loses all the. So one of the things I hate and love about Burger Time is the more ladderness, right? Am I thinking the right one? Am I thinking of Diner? I think I'm thinking of Diner.
Oh, you
This
might be
is
thinking
Peter
of
Pepper's-
Diner. This is Peter
All right,
Pepper's
so-
Ice Cream Factory. This is the one that's it's laid out like
Burger
flat
Time.
2D Burger Time. The problem is you're just throwing these chunks of ice cream around and trying to kill stuff with it, I guess. Like I'm still not entirely sure how to play this game because I couldn't find it. So it's all
I'm
new.
with you. It feels there's donuts, there's weight machine. I see what they were doing. They were saying, "Hey, let's take this thing and make it the same but different." And
it
don't
didn't
care.
work for me. I mean, just watching it, I didn't play it, so I shouldn't say that.
And maybe it's just a fundamental difference in how I think of life. I could see myself stacking burgers in real life. I don't see myself as an ice cream guy making ice cream.
Mm-mm.
Seems a little doing scoops. I'm not a scoop guy.
You're not a scooper? Okay.
No, I'm not a scooper. I like to be in the kitchen, making the patting the meats out.
Yeah.
And dropping the fries in the fryer. But I'm just not. I can't see myself working in an ice cream place.
If you were like a beat reporter, you'd scoop.
Right.
You'd get scoops. That's different though. Different kind of scoops.
That's different though. That's a different kind of scoops.
Yeah, that's a game I wouldn't play either. That sounds dumb.
Have you ever heard my rant that I go on about the marketing bullshit that is scoops?
Yeah.
It's like scoops are not a measurement. You can't tell me 2 scoops of raisins.
No,
That
means
doesn't
nothing.
mean anything.
No, it means nothing.
That means nothing.
I agree with you, dude. I agree. I mean, I'm not ready to sue anybody, but I still think it's an atrocity that's been purveyed on the human, on human beings.
That's not a form of measurement.
It's like,
You get
2 scoops, not 1 scoop of raisins? Yeah, define a scoop. A scoop could be
Give me-
a backhoe or it could be a spoon. What are we doing? Lame.
I did it in under 2 parsecs. That's not distance.
No, but they
Or
retconned
speed.
they
Maybe it's
retconned that
I
in
can't
that
remember.
they retconned it in that Solo movie. So
That's right.
not
Love
very
it.
well in my opinion. All right, what we got here is this game that I also think is kind of bad. It is called Diner, and this is the one you were referring to before. This is an Intellivision game, 1987. So we're all over the place on dates. We're not chronological today.
No, and we're into the just dimensions at this point because anything after that Game Boy Burger Time thing is just acknowledging that there were other things.
There was other stuff that existed. Yeah, and by the time the Game Boy game, well, even the 360 game was not a big hit or anything.
Right.
In fact, I don't know too many people knew about it. I think it was on Live Arcade is where I played it.
Sounds right.
I don't remember
Yes.
how that worked on my 360, but this thing is a sequel to Burger Time with new levels, mechanics, isometric pixel block wieners. I think that's an egg you're rolling. I don't know. What is that?
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming that is the Mr. Egg, and I guess you're stacking those down at the bottom. Is that your meat pat? I think that might be meatballs.
Oh,
That's are those meatballs?
if those are meatballs, they're horribly rendered meatballs. And
It's like an Escher. The steps don't make sense.
yeah, there is an MC Escher vibe going on.
Right. The steps don't make sense, and you're eat. Stop flashing to me. Stop using that memory for
the
flashing
word
signs
for the
that
word
say
eat. We have plenty of meatballs to roll. Why do you have to tell me to eat constantly? Also, is that a little mug of beer chasing you or something, like a soda?
I think it is, and it kind of reminds me of like I thought a lot about Tapper for some reason this week while doing this, and people were mentioning it too. But yeah, it all feels like it goes hand in hand. If you're gonna go to the diner, I guess you're gonna need some drinks, need some ice cream. And the first one's turned to pepper for some reason, but yeah, that makes sense. Why
Okay,
not?
do you have, if you had to pick arcade game, let's stay in the arcade. Arcade
All right.
games that have to do with food that aren't Burger King or Burger King, Burger Time.
Burger Time.
That
There's
aren't
a
Burger Time.
restaurant called Burger Time, by the way, and it was always interfering with my Burger Time research.
Oh, that's not good at all. Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah.
But if you had to pick an arcade game that had to do with food that isn't Burger Time, what do you pick? What do you like?
First of all, I am feverishly typing in with one hand into Google arcade, a food-based arcade game.
For me,
I'm having trouble thinking of any.
The natural answer is Food Fight. I thought Food Fight was awesome.
Oh, Food Fight is amazing, and I played Food Fight just recently, so I should definitely remember that. That was an Atari game, right?
I think so. Atari, I believe.
Yeah, because I that arcade fight stick that I got had Food on Fight on it, and me and Ethan played the crap out of that. That was fun. Isn't that the one where the character has to avoid the different chefs or whatever they are throwing food at you, and then you have to get to like the ice cream cone before it melts? And then when you get near it, you go, oh, and there's like this nice big.
It kind of, to me, it felt like
that's a good one.
Not Berserk. What? Not Berserk. What's the one where you?
No, but you're right. It's like that Berserk was a single screen Robotron.
There you go. Yeah.
So it's kind of an open area stage where you have characters just constantly coming towards you, throwing stuff, and you try to avoid them.
Yeah.
So that era of gaming is over, where you have a single screen where you're trying to avoid enemies that are coming straight at you.
Yeah.
I don't think we do that anymore.
The chat room's killing me. Tondagosa says if your meatballs look like the ones in this game, check your recipe again. Yeah, I agree. These are effed.
Here's a couple of arcade games apparently that I had kind of forgotten. Well, first of all, they put Pac-Man in this as a food game, because I guess that's right, because you're eating things constantly.
You're eating dots, and there's fruit, and there's
fruit.
all that. I don't think it counts though. I think it needs to be more of a strong theme than that, but
yeah. Cookie Mama, which doesn't feel like an arcade game to me, but I guess probably where it came from. I guess Tapper, definitely one of those. Cake Mania, never played that. Order Up, Food Fight, and that's pretty much your list of food related arcade games that I saw. If you have more, let me know.
Yeah, it's insane. Let's move on to Burger Time World. This is the last gasp, in my opinion, of this whole
Unless
thing.
you want to go license from G Mode.
Yeah, and who does? Nobody. That's who.
Us.
It's this weird. You know what? This game's really fun. I'm gonna go ahead and recommend it if you can get your hands on it. The problem is it's very hard to get. I think it was digital only. I could be wrong. There was never a boxed copy that I'm aware of.
And thank you, Nintendo, for pulling away from the store and everything. So you might have had this on the Wii, right?
Oh, the Wii have this?
Possibly.
I didn't remember that. If they had it. Okay.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So, but that's not available anymore. So thanks a lot, game preservationist Nintendo.
Yeah, well done. You guys clearly care about long-term preservation of video games. It's weird. It's this big rotating circular platform, and there are burger pieces on these floating platforms, very sci-fi looking. And your job is kind of the same. You're trying to stack burgers and avoid the wieners, and avoid the eggs, avoid the stuff, the wieners of the world, and the freaking psycho pickles in this one. Good Lord. And they got some cool remix of the music and stuff. It's actually very fun. I think it's a good take, a good new take. And it really takes advantage of everybody's newer 3D platforming skills that they have acquired since the last time they played a Burger Time game.
Yeah.
It's still, it's 2.5D. You're not really moving much into the foreground or background, but it's very fun. I like it a lot.
Yeah. It's a 3D game where you're basically on the outside of a cylinder that continually rotates around, and so you have to you have to get used to that. We've played some games in the past that use this kind of method. What was that one rocket game that we played a couple years ago for the Boop Show? Oh, what the crap was it?
Rocket
Anyway,
game. Hold on, I want to know.
it was like a rocket game. It's like where you had you were constantly shooting rockets, but because you were wrapped up against a rotating transparent cylinder,
Oh,
you could shoot a rocket and you could actually end up hurting yourself.
I have this game. It's roguelikey and
yeah.
Oh shoot, it's cool. That's a great game.
It's cool.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like this here too. And you're going, it's a world tour, just like you'd think. So you're different locations or thematically, like we're looking at one right now. This obviously New York got Lady Liberty in the middle of this rotating nightmare that is trying to make sure that you can get around a corner without running into a pickle.
Yeah.
You gotta find yourself in a real pickle.
Yeah. No, I get where you went there. I'm trying to find this indie game with rotating levels. What is that called? The problem is Orbital Bullet. That's it.
Orbital Bullet. That's what it was.
Found it. That is a really cool game, worth picking up.
Game.
Everybody, very cool.
Yeah.
The only problem with the indie space right now, it is like on fire with new games all the time, and it's awesome. But it's impossible to remember all the names. I can't do it.
It really is. It really is.
Well, anyway, Burger Time World Tour was that game, and Burger Time turns out in some way or another, if you find the right version, will hold up for you, and you'll have a good time. All right.
Yeah, you will.
Oh, the eggs rush you, by the way, in World.
Oh, interesting. So you get the egg rush.
They see you, and then they go, like do a little Sonic thing, and then they.
Oh, I'm coming for you, Burger Man. I'm coming for you.
They come across the thing trying to take out Peter Pepper before he can do any burger times.
Yeah, and before you can do the burger times. I still want to see. I've yet to see, except in the commercials, I've yet to see who the recipients of these burgers are. Is Peter Pepper? Is he miniature? Or does he live in a world where he's making burgers for giant? In other words, can I one-to-one put myself into his shoes and play, in normal scale, and I'm serving giants, or
no,
nothing else going on there?
If you're in his world, you're as small as he is.
Okay.
And if you were to go make these burgers,
so the burgers are normal size.
No, the burgers are huge.
Okay, the burger's
he's
huge.
normal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in that world, you could say the Giants thing, but maybe it's we're going to donate each one of these burgers to a homeless shelter, and everybody's going to eat burgers for the next 3 weeks. I don't know.
He's altruistic. I got you. He's a philanthropist.
He's a philanthropist. He's always giving, never taking. Okay, that's his deal. All right. Hey, how about we play a game? I'm going to push this button.
Destroy it.
Guys,
before we do that, just one quick thing.
One final note.
People told me, don't forget, there's is it Game Boy Color? There's Flintstones Burger Time in Bedrock, and then later on there's a SpongeBob burger game. So
there is,
there's it makes sense, of course. But the Bedrock, the Flintstone one's pretty neat. We got to talk about it someday when we do a whole Flintstones episode, because Flintstones was in everything.
Patty Panic.
Yeah, Patty Panic. Or burger. Are you talking about SpongeBob?
SpongeBob.
Yeah, Patty Panic.
Yeah, it's
SpongeBob.
basically that. It's 100% that.
Yeah.
So instead of you're getting chased by what's his name? Squidward, not Squidward. Who's the little dude? The little
he's
Plankton.
Like Plankton.
Plankton.
His name is Plankton.
Yeah, Plankton's chasing you. That's wild. I didn't know this existed.
Yeah, there you go. Look at that.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Don't forget to play that. And also I had a bunch of, I don't know if you remember or not, the burger Boss Burgers has the whole video on the Burger Boss.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
And they have that's the game he plays, and what's his name? From Parks and Rec. I can't think of the actor. He plays the little kid that's got the high score, and there's a big competition to him and Bob. It's great. That's a great episode.
It's a great episode, great tie over. And there is an NES ROM, which I didn't get to play because there's so much freaking Burger Time. It is a Burger Time hack for Bob's Burgers.
That's awesome.
For the NES.
Holy shit.
And I didn't get to it yet,
Brian,
but I'm excited.
Get to it. It's like that Wario, Dr. Wario, which is like a flip over of Mario. I love that.
Yeah. So apologies. Well, let's move on to the next segment.
All right, here we go. I got a game I'm going to describe to you with two pieces of information, pieces of pizza. And one is the platform, one is the year, and then your goal is to guess them based on 4 possible answers. I'll do the same with you here shortly, but here is my guess, or here is my platform and my year, and then I'll play some audio. All right, you ready for this? Arcade, and the year is 1985.
Okay.
Big year.
1985
Big year for a
It's
lot
like
of stuff. It is the year everyone thinks of when they think of the 80s. They think Back to the Future. They think the best hairstyles, the stupidest clothes, all the dumb things we were like the height of the 80s-ness of the 80s. That was the year.
Right in the middle of the 80s was the most 80s of 80s.
Yeah, and that may help you here. I don't know.
All right.
But here's your audio. Here we go. Now, you probably laugh because this sounds like every arcade game ever made.
That, and it sounds like something that everybody mentions every freaking week.
Oh, does it? Well, let's find out if it's what you think it is. That's interesting. I lost my page. Here we go. Is it, here are your options. A, ASO Armored Scrum Object. It's a real game. Real game, by the way. B, Return of the Invaders.
Okay, that makes sense.
C's Exciting Hour. Or D,
it's Exciting Hour.
Or D, Choplifter. Again, ASO
are you
Armored.
Trolling me?
I'm not doing anything. I'm just giving you the options. You get to choose what you think you're hearing there. And
I feel like I'm being trolled this week on Guess My Game.
I don't troll. I only I defeat trolls.
Never heard of Armored Scrum Object, but I definitely want to play that. I don't know if you picked the name ASO and then just picked out some dumbass words that go with ASO or not. But
it's a real game. I will promise you everything here is a real game.
All right, I'm going to get rid of that one. B, Return of the Invaders. I don't even know what the heck that is. Matter of fact, I don't know what any of these things are except for Choplifter. I don't know what Exciting Hour is. That sounds like a Japanese game that was like, we're going to bother translating the name. Nah.
Yeah.
Let's go literal.
Sure.
Exciting Hour.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to go with D, Choplifter, the only person on the board who I might believe is flying a helicopter in that.
Let's see.
Clip.
Let's see if I can tell you or not tell you if
did you
that's
trick
correct.
me?
Well, is that your final answer? I'll ask you.
My final answer is Choplifter, D.
Okay, is it Choplifter? It is Choplifter.
Yeah.
All right, now there's two reasons I did this. One, we deserve to finally try to squeeze it in after all the memeing. Number two, I promised Wabbit Magic a few weeks ago that I would finally do it. So I thought today would be the day to do it. Unfortunately, he's not here to see it. I hate that part of this, but this will dedicate today's thing to you. And that means you won, Brian. Congratulations. You found the right thing. Now tell me yours, and I'll see how bad I do, because I'm not feeling confident here.
Yeah, I know, right? So I went to the NES in 1988 for some reason. I don't know why I picked the NES. Oh yeah, I was doing some research. But yeah, so I got some audio clips here, and then I'm going to tell you what you got to choose from.
All right. So we got NES 88.
It's not Choplifter, unfortunately.
That's a shame. That's a shame.
Yeah.
I have an idea.
Yeah, and your choices in this really good sound NES game is A, Blaster Master, B, Metroid, C, Contra, or D, the Mega Mans.
The Mega Mans. It just says Mega Man chat. Don't worry, we didn't really call it the Mega Mans.
Right, the Mega Mans.
Let me hear this one more time.
It was the sequel to the first Mega Man, the Mega Mans.
The Mega Men, yeah.
The Mega Mans.
This one's hard because I've narrowed it down to two in my brain here.
NES 1988. If that tells you anything, if that informs.
I'm gonna guess. It's either Master Blaster or Mega Man. I think I'm gonna say Mega Man. The Mega Man.
You're gonna say Mega Man? You're gonna say the Mega Mans?
Yeah.
All right. D is the answer. D.
Oh, really? Is it Master Blaster or Blaster Master?
It is Blaster Master, not Master Blaster, which I
Who runs
always do.
Town?
I always invert that, but it is Blaster Master, which I want to do on the show. Someone had mentioned it in our forums that we've been taking. Or 50 people have already taken this forum that is about our upcoming episodes, and one of the suggestions was Blaster Master. I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm going to squeeze.
No, we need to. It doesn't just run Bartertown, which is incorrect.
No.
But it also is an amazing game series, and I'm a huge fan of the Genesis. There was a Genesis iteration of that game that I loved.
Blaster Master.
Hold on, Blaster Master Genesis. I am thinking of the right one, right? I think so. Oh yeah, Blaster Master 2.
Yeah.
It was called.
Yeah.
One of the worst covers in the history of covers of games because it
Because
says
the original
nothing.
was so good.
Well,
The
look
original
at
cover was amazing.
Look at this cover. I'm going to put it in here, chat, for you and the chat to see. That's just doesn't tell you anything. It's just a ball with Blaster and Master and a number 2 on it, and Sunsoft made it.
The number 2. Thank you, Sunsoft. Well, the first one was a really creepy, brain-searing cover art.
Yeah.
And you're right. That doesn't say anything.
It's garbage. Like the first game made a lot of sense with its cover. This thing made no sense.
Yeah.
And it didn't tell you what the game was about. It's kind of like Bust a Move. That's effed up too.
Yeah.
Like what were they thinking with Bust a Move? Like seriously, make it. I don't know what's wrong with those people, but look at that. This game is awesome. Moves. That little robot with the wheels and the shit. I love this game so much. We should talk about Blaster Master.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
Get to it.
All right.
It's good stuff.
I'm in. And thank you everybody, by the way, for submitting those names and things, because we're going to base a lot of our upcoming stuff on what you guys want to hear about. So we appreciate
You made it. Way to go.
Let's get to some listener feedback.
Welcome to the treasure room.
Today, Brian, I'd like to start with a phone call from Wooj Man. Then I'll go back to the email after that. But this is Wooj talking about the Tony Hawk thing, so let's hear him out.
Hey, this is Wooj Man calling for Play Retro. Was just calling all the N-Gage talk on the recent Tony Hawk episode. Had me thinking, Scott, since you've got an N-Gage down there, and Brian, you love to just buy old retro crap on eBay, I think you guys should make a friendly wager, and the loser has to do, let's say, a month worth of surviving off just all their game playing on the N-Gage.
Oh my God.
Including all the game playing and all the cell phone needs via the N-Gage. We'll call it the N-Gage Challenge. Don't know what
Oh
the
my
should be.
God.
I don't know, maybe the highest score in a round of Tetris? I don't know.
Oh.
You guys talk about it. I'm just here coming up with crazy ideas. See ya.
All right. I love Wooj Man, first of all. Second of all, he has great kids, by the way. Smart, really creative kids. I think he's a cool dad. And then thirdly, I'll say this. This is an insidious idea that we will not do for one reason. I can't find my N-Gage. I don't know where it is. I've looked, and after that show, I was like hunting around. I cannot find the box this is in. Even if I found it, we can't use it for phone purposes because, A, no networks connect to it anymore, and there is no Wi-Fi on that device at all.
Right.
So it is only as good as the crappy, whatever original cell speed was back then.
Right.
It's only as good as that, and no one offers that. So I can't even hook it up temporarily to anything. So even if I could find it, charge it, run it, I don't even know if it would work on anything that we would do with it. So I don't know if that would work.
Yeah. I'm going to start calling Wooj Man Gambling Man because this is a great challenge with a terrible penalty. And yeah, I don't know if I could do it myself. I did look for some emulation. There are a few projects out there for emulation for the N-Gage, but it's overly complex currently. But if you know of a better way, if you know of some kind of easy way to do it, I would definitely love to emulate. I'd love to play the real hardware, but I think it's gonna be difficult.
Yeah, that can be tricky to do that. Yeah,
I don't even one that's working. It's a good challenge, though. I feel challenged.
I kind of want to. If you find a way to do a good emulation, we should try to find the most obscure, strange, garbage games that were on that thing.
Yeah, agreed.
That would be fun. Thank you for that. We also got a quick email here from a listener. Or is this a text? It might be a text. I can't remember. This is Brian from Kentucky. Another Brian.
Oh, hey, Brian.
Hey, guys. Just finished listening to the Tony Hawk 1 and 2 episode, and I wanted to mention a couple of things. First off, Tate mode, which is where you run a game with vertical aspect ratio, is pronounced Tate mode.
Tate, which is way better than Tate, right?
Tate. I think Tate is weird, but also Tate is weird. I don't like that either. He says it is the Japanese word for, I think, vertical. And quite a few shmups offer it so you can get more of an arcade feel with games like Ikaruga, Raiden, etc. Secondly, if you haven't played Jet Set Radio yet, I would normally recommend going straight to the sequel, Jet Set Radio Future, as the original can feel a bit clunky. However, since Sega refuses to port it to any kind of modern platform, I can wholeheartedly recommend Bomb Rush Cyberfunk.
Ooh.
It is a recent indie love letter to the series and absolutely nails the gameplay, soundtrack, and general JSR vibe. Thanks for the retro goodness as always, Brian from Kentucky. P.S. Scott, I hope the Saturn and Genesis are still treating you well. They absolutely are, my Sega benefactor.
Yeah, Brian. Brian from Kentucky is amazing, and he's right. It is Tate, as many people corrected me after I called it Tate mode, and you'll never stop me. I'll always call it Tate mode.
I'm gonna call it Tate mode, and I'm gonna say taint by accident. That's the
And I'm
rule.
going to say Tate quite often. Hey,
Bomb
won't
rush.
you put that thing in Tate mode so you can play that shmup proper?
Yeah.
Pass me my Reese's Pieces.
Yes, please. So let's see. This thing is currently at overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam. This game he recommended.
Yeah, this the Bomb Rush Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1 second per says advanced funk styles. Let's see. 98% on the reviews. Jeez, I may have to pick this up. $40.
Yeah. Also on the Nintendo Switch, apparently. Not bad.
Ooh, beautiful
$40
art,
like
too.
Scott said on
Looks
Steam.
Nice.
Oh, it's on everything. Got PlayStation. It's on PS5. Man, this thing's everywhere. So this is obviously
This
doing
is a
well.
this is a great review. I guess they can make it like they used to. Is what he said.
I like that.
You know what?
Oh, and
I'm getting it.
yeah, I like that. Yeah.
I'm getting this shit. Why isn't it on my wish
Is
list?
this wait, let's make sure it's not part of Game Pass, is it? Let me make sure. 'Cause
Oh,
I'm
good. You
seeing-
know what? Good point. Check. Always check.
Yeah, I mean, checking that. Also available. Yeah, it looks like it works on GeForce now, so that's good. That's support for there as well, so
Yeah.
that's good.
All the Blizzard stuff went back on GeForce now. I don't know if you heard about that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not.
Here we go. Bomb Rush Cyber Funk.
Cyberpunk.
I want
Yeah, it
Game
looks like it's
Pass.
just regular old $40. Might get a discount though if you belong to the thing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Not everything has to be on Game Pass,
But-
I suppose.
No.
Well, that's
We-
cool.
we
I think
correct.
I'll probably get the Steam version. Does it game? Let's see. Oh, and it's verified for Steam Deck. Well, that's a no-brainer. I'm
Yep.
getting it.
Yep, optimized for. But these people have really done the work, man. It's optimized for the X and the S. It was Steam Deck compatible, man. These people have put in the work.
Love it. That's two indies you should pay
That's why
attention
they've
to
done well.
today. You want to get these two games: Bomb Rush Cyberpunk for all you Jet Set Radio fans, and then back just a quick reminder: Orbital Bullet, the amazing 2.5D roguelike with rotating 360 levels. So good.
Can I as well just reflect a little bit while we're talking about Jet Set Radio and confirm that in Discord, Shanafan did tell us earlier this week, pushed up his glasses and gave his best comic guys voice for last week. Guess My Game. Technically, it was called Jet Grind Radio in the US.
Yeah, it was. That's unfortunate. It's stupid. They changed it because they thought it was more edgy. Jet Set Radio's fine. Jet Grind Radio? Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up, early 2000s. Eat a turd.
Shut up with your stuff.
Yes. What was I going to say? Oh, if you guys want to call that phone number and leave a voicemail like Woojman did, you can do it real easy. 801. Write this down, everybody. 801-471-0462. Super easy to remember. 801-471-0462. You can also email us, playretroshow@gmail.com. And if you'd rather text us, you can use that same number I just gave you to text us instead of voicemails. Whatever you want to do, it's up to you. Brian, it's time for the Retro Report. Oh, I'm going to do a new one this week. Since we're playing this game, let's do this right here. All right, what's up, Retro?
Well, since
man?
obviously I didn't fill out this part of the show notes for some reason, I'm going to have to do it on the fly. But I will tell you this, Roller Coaster Tycoon server is still running. Leafy Lake. People still been getting on there and adding stuff to it. We're going to take that one down next week. We'll put up a new scenario. Check it out. Go over to retrogib.com. While you're there, also look at our Unreal Tournament 99 and Unreal Tournament 2004 servers. All the information is there for you to jump on and play some old school and shoot some people and some gibs. Get some gibs. Get your gib on.
Get your gib on.
Yes, get your gib on. We've got some great map rotation, new stuff on Unreal 2K4. It's a lot of fun there. Retro Achievements. Brian Mission Deep is my handle on Retro Achievements. I don't know if Scott has set us up yet, but come on, challenge me, bruh.
Get in
Because
there.
I made some really low-hanging fruits achievements on Burger Time NES specifically this week. Like get your first ice cream. Not a problem. I got it. Nailed that achievement. Killed it.
Wow.
Come at me, bruh. Don't forget, we do watch parties. Not going to be doing one today because we got a community event afterwards. But we're doing the X-Men original series. We've went through the first 3.
Yep.
We're going to be back for number 4 for too much longer. And then if you want to take part in the show, we do have a poll, if you will, about on the Discord server. Is pinned to the Play Retro channel. And essentially what we're doing is we're asking for our listeners to look at our upcoming episodes and rate their interest of each of the games, and then to make any suggestions for new games. And boy, howdy, if you guys come through, we got a lot of great suggestions and a good idea of the interest for coming up. Like I will tell you right now, like Grim Fandango, people seem to be interested in that. They like that idea. Streets of Rage 2, yes, please, don't mind. I'll have another. Jet Set Radio doing fairly well. Crime Cities, no one's ever heard of it. Murder exclamation, nope. G Police, nobody's interested. So I'm going to knock those off. Commander Keen, just weird Commander Keen. I'm only seeing like 5s and 1s for people.
Yeah.
It's like either really want to hear some Commander Keen, or one like I've heard enough about Commander Keen.
Yeah,
So,
it's weird how divided it is. I didn't expect that.
yeah.
Because
That's
Commander
the- that's
Keen
the
is
weird
like
one.
this. To me, it's like just, it's early id. It's before they
Yeah.
changed everything with shooters and everything. And then I just think, well, that's interesting. And then people are like, I hate Commander Keen, or they love it. I don't know why. I don't
know why it's divisive, but that may make a good episode. I don't know yet. We'll see.
We'll see how it goes. Anyway, lots going on. Check it all out. Our next week's discussion will be Earthbound, the Mother series if you're in Japan.
Or if you're Tandagosa.
Tandagosa. Those were a big deal, and they don't get talked about enough. And finally, Nintendo actually did some releasing that made people happy on the online deal with the old, formerly Japan only game. Forgot the name of it. Is that Mother 3?
Mother 3. Mother 3 is the big one. That's the one people remember, and that's Tandagosa's namesake reference there. If you've ever played Mother 3,
I have not and did not know that, but that's cool. Yeah, we're going to talk about that series and why it's a big whoop, and maybe a few thoughts as to why it doesn't do anything new. There are references to it in other Nintendo games, Smash, things like that, but the Earthbound / Mother series has just gone by the poo-poo side.
Yeah, what happened to somebody's gonna probably tell us it went to Father now. I don't know. We'll find out. That's what we're here for. We're
Father 3. That's right.
Father 3.
I can't wait to play Mother 3 so that I can be prepared for Father 3.
Will we be doing Mother 3 on Father's Day week? Oh man, maybe we should have waited one more week for Mother 3 to play on Father's Day week. That'd be hilarious.
That would be funny.
Well, I don't know how funny it'd be, but
it's pretty funny right now, but I think later I might think different of it.
Right.
Because for a second it's funny, but then I'm not sure.
Right. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, no, I'm tired of it already. I'm
Yeah.
tired of that idea. It sucks.
I already hate this idea. Forget it. Anyway, we're going to do that next week. So come back for that. In the meantime, please support us. We need your help. Kind of stalled out a little bit, plateaued on new patrons. I haven't been losing people, which is nice, but would love to see some new folks over at patreon.com/playretro. And let me tell you, you cannot put a price tag on just even this one basic thing, never getting a commercial or ad of any kind ever. None!
Nope.
All right? So you want to come do that for that reason, but there's other reasons too. You get pre-show content every week. Brian and I put up stuff on the Patreon all the time. Lots of reasons to join and none not to. Okay?
And how are we ever going to get our Data East Revival Project Bad Dudes licensing from Gmode if you don't come give us some love on Patreon? Just $1.
Just $1.
No commercials.
Yeah.
And we'll do it.
Yeah, get in there.
We'll try.
Patreon.com/playretro today. Everything else is at Play Retro, or all the other Play Retro stuff is over at frogpants.com/playretro. So if you're looking for all the things we talk about, they're all linked there. And once again, just a kind of a hats off and a salute to our pal Wabbit Magic. We're going to miss him.
Yeah. Miss him so much.
Hop in the Discords and share your feelings if you had to run in with that guy, because he was the best. That's going to do it for us. Brian, anything you'd like to say before we cut loose and leave?
I'm going to go play Road Trip on my tiny little arcade machine that Wabbit Magic gave me. It's an Arduino, and I don't know anything about it, and I'm learning ever so slowly.
I love that. I love that. I'm going to do the same. Everyone else out there, go do something similar. Go play retro, and we'll see you next week.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Yes. Get more at frogpants.com.
Hot dogs that have a taste for revenge.
That sounds like diarrhea.